Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. It is 11 a.m. It is the gloomiest day I've ever seen in my whole life. So I'm going to try and bring the sunshine today. Have my ring light on the warmest setting ever, which normally doesn't work for me, but I was so washed out. Holy cannoli. None of this matters, but you know me, I like to waste 14 seconds just to make sure that we are live and everything is great. So I hope everyone is doing well today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining me. As always, I am filled with gratitude every single time I get to show up here for you, for this community, for all of you incredible women that are here and are finding support within this community. So if you are here, if you are live, wave to me, say hi in the comments. Looks like I can see them today, which is always a step in the right direction. So what are we chatting about today? Got to pull up my notes. No, I'm kidding. I know what we're talking about. So if you have any questions or concerns or comments, definitely let me know in the comments. If I can answer them immediately, meaning if I can see them, I will do so right away. If not, I will check all comments at the end. So this topic we're talking about today, which is the shadow self and shadow work. Hi, Shannon. Is a topic I've really wanted to cover for a long time, but it never actually really felt like the right moment. And it wasn't until we went through the dark night of the soul, the spiritual awakening, and we've taken this therapeutic journey on a spiritual journey as well, where I thought this one really fit in. So I thought this is the perfect time. We're doing this now. So today, as I said, shadow self and shadow work. And you know, funnily enough, and I know Shannon actually put in the comments before this, she had asked, is this like the dark pieces of myself, like my dark side, quote unquote? And while yes, it can be for sure. There are, there's kind of like a dark and mysterious side to all of us, but it's not necessarily what you think darkness means per se. I thought the same thing, to be perfectly honest with you, when I heard this terminology, and I heard it way back when I was in school for psychology, studying Carl Jung and his idea of the shadow self. And I thought, what does that mean? Does that mean, you come to all these conclusions, but really and truly, it's not necessarily exactly what you think it might be. So let us jump right in and get started. This is too much energy for shadow work, I think, but what can I say? I'm trying to bring high energy to distract us all from the rain outside. Anyway, so if you are watching live today, it is maybe because you're feeling like there is parts of your personality that are there that you know are a part of you, but they're things you're keeping hidden from the world. They're things that you don't necessarily want to show to others or feel comfortable showing to other people it could be a multitude of reasons. You could feel shameful about it. You could feel fear of judgment. There's all sorts of reasons that you might hide those aspects of your personality. So if this one resonated with you, that could be one of the reasons. If you don't accept yourself in its entirety, if you don't love yourself holistically, every piece of you, if you aren't owning all those little aspects that make you unique and make you who you are, there's probably some shadow work to do there. There's probably some things that you need to uncover, and we can start to work on that together once I've equipped you with all of this information. You know you're not living your authentic self. And people always ask, what does it mean to live authentically anyway? And it really, from my perspective, living authentically is just being true to your nature. All the parts that make you who you are. You don't care anymore what other people think. You don't, give a crapola if they judge you or if they talk behind your back. You're so confident in what it means to be you, and you're confident in that definition, so much so that it doesn't matter. So if you're feeling like, hey, I'm really not being authentic, you will be uncomfortable because those aspects of you are going to want to come out naturally because it's part of who you are. So if you're feeling that way and you feel like you're hiding yourself from the world, let's rip the masks off together. Let's just take them off and be authentic. And in order to uncover that, we got to do a bit of peeking in the dark. Proverbial dark, not the actual dark. You could do it in the dark if you wanted to, but you don't have to. I'm just going to move my little cursor here. Hold on. There we go. Okay, there. Now I can see everything better. So let's define the shadow self first. Before we can understand what shadow work is, we got to understand what the shadow self is. So I'm going to give you some of the key definitions that I found online. It's going to require me to read and look down, so I'm going to divert my eyeballs. So Hi, Tanya. Good morning. Tell Arnold I said hi. Arnold is Tanya's son, in case anyone wants to know, and he's probably watching. So, hi, Arnold. So, the shadow self is the parts of ourselves that we have pushed down to the unconscious. Those aspects we're wildly insecure about. We feel shame around them. We're frustrated by these pieces of us. To not feel them, we repress them. We actually have to push them way down deep into the depths of our unconscious in order to forget about them. That's how much shame we feel, that we need to repress them this much. So parts of our personality, we feel as though either, oh my gosh, this sentence. Parts of our personality we feel as though either will or have been in the past rejected by society, or are simply not welcome. To avoid that rejection out of fear, not because it's reality, we hide parts of ourselves away. So some examples of that shadow self, you might be hiding, bits of selfishness. If you feel like you're selfish, you don't really want to admit that to people, so we hide it away. Aggressive impulses, self-centeredness, arrogance, fears, shameful experiences. And a good indication, and I'll get into this more, of things that are kind of lurking in your own shadow, things you judge others for, and you all know what they are, because I had a lot of judgments, so many judgments, and I'm sure if you've judged other people in your life or gone through periods of that, you can let me know in the comments. We're all in the same boat, believe me. This is an indication that your shadow is showing itself, because we cannot judge others unless we have that insecurity within ourselves. We can't even see it in other people. We're a reflection, a mirror of other people. And if you find yourself criticizing other people, then you're likely projecting that shadow right onto them. So again, it's like anytime you have those judgments of other people, it's time to stop and be like, whoa, wait, why? What is it within me that I feel insecure about? So here's the deal. How does it form? First and foremost, I want to let you know, everybody has a shadow. Literally, this entire universe, everybody in this world has a shadow or has had a shadow self, and they've worked through it. Nobody is impervious. Nobody doesn't go through this. It is simply a matter of fact. Everybody has a shadow. So if you feel like you're alone and hiding all these aspects of yourself, believe me, you are not alone. We're all in this together, okay? So if we want to understand how the shadow self forms, we got to look back to childhood. We got to take a journey backwards, because most of these aspects of ourselves will start to be hidden away as we grow up, as we are children. Because when we're born, we're like a tabula rasa. Is that the right word? It might not be the right way to say it, but you know what I mean. We're blank slates, right? So we're born free of shame. We're born free of judgment. We don't have any of this. We are like little sweet, innocent beings that have not yet gone through the challenges that this world brings sometimes. There's lots of joy, but there's also lots of challenges. So when we're that young, we're very, obviously we are looking to our caregivers. The first people we look to learn our lessons are our primary caregivers, whether that's guardians, grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, whoever primarily took care of you. You looked to them as role models to be able to seek out what is good and what is bad. And I'm putting those in quotations. Hi, other Denise. I swear we have like 4 Denises in this group, and it's like the best thing ever. It's like a little gaggle of Denises. Anyways, so, and I don't think our parents actually ever intentionally try and show us or try and shame us in such a way that we have to hide aspects of ourselves, but it's done out of love. They think they're protecting us. They think that, by limiting us in certain ways or guiding us on certain paths, that they're doing the best for us, and that is with love. But oftentimes it can cause a lot of shame and fear and repression within children. So I think parents now are becoming more open-minded in this way, and are looking towards validating their children's emotions and accepting what they're saying and believing them when they say they're upset and all of this stuff. So we've come a long way as far as parenting is concerned. Not that I'm a parent or an expert, but based on the research I've done personally, right? So let's think of an example from childhood. How many of you were told as a kid, oh, stop crying, get up, you're fine, just stop. Hi, Robin. Good morning. Yes, how many people were told that when they were growing up? I'm sure it's a lot of you were told that. But what happens is when you're consistently told, don't cry, come on, man up, boys don't cry. I'm sure young men heard this more than anything, right? When you tell this to a child, they automatically associate having emotions with being shameful. And when you have this strong feeling and emotion of shame behind feeling emotions, you start to repress, because you learn that to show emotion to this world, to be honest with your feelings, to cry when you need to, is not acceptable. And you're told, you're not validated. In fact, you're told, just stop it. Just stop it, right? Another really good example is if your parents were always telling you, I think little girls heard this a lot. Little girls are to be seen and not heard. That can be incredibly damaging. I know for myself personally, not necessarily by my parents, but by the people I went to school with. I was always told, you're too loud, Denise, you're so loud. So I learned for period A, being loud is not a good thing. Nobody wants to hear your voice. Nobody wants you to be loud. Just be quiet. And there was a time where, I tried to do that, but the loud is strong in me, friends. So obviously that throat chakra is loud. So I could only mitigate for that for so long, but there are other people in this world that have associated, being quiet with what is socially acceptable. So they repress those feelings of being strong in their voice and speaking their truth out of fear. So there it goes down to the shadow self, right? And all these things, there's tons of them. It's individual, right? Shannon says, suck it up, you're fine. Yes, we're from that, and Denise says, very true. We're from that generation, myself too, right? And once these aspects go into the unconscious, they don't go away. If you're repressing them, they don't go anywhere. They are just sitting there, lurking in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered, waiting to be discovered. They don't go anywhere. Those aspects of you are still there. So the longer you repress them, the harder and harder it gets, because the shadow wants out. Sorry, it wants to bang down the door, and the longer you ignore it, the more it's going to bang on the door, until the point where you have no choice but to either dim the noise or open that door and figure out why there's so much shame, fear, judgment, and criticism. I don't know. I can't speak today. You get what I'm saying though, right? So, and this, what happens is when we repress so much, when those aspects get so loud and they're knocking on that door, we start looking to coping strategies. And sometimes these coping strategies, while they're necessary in the moment, can have an impact on our well-being. Some individuals look to drugs, to alcohol, to addiction, gambling, shopping, you name it. They're looking for something to quiet that noise so that they can continue to repress those personality aspects. And like I mentioned, it's not necessarily, this doesn't necessarily just come from your parents. I'm not giving all the parents the blame here, because this can come from other places. And in my example, when the kids in school were telling me, oh, you're so annoying and you're loud and you should be quiet and no one wants to hear your voice, it can come from your peers. And we're very, open to influence as children. And think about the schoolyard. You're 8 years old. You just want to be one of the cool kids so badly, but the cool kids have told you you're loud and annoying. So you think, okay, I'll just not be loud and annoying. And then you're trying really hard to fit in to a place you don't really even belong, which is the best part. Like, how amazing would it have been if we had the self-awareness at 8 to be like, you don't like my personality? I'm out of here. See ya. I'm going to go find a group of friends that respects me for who I am, because I'm awesome. But that's not necessarily how it works. We don't have the understanding at 8 years old to be able to do that, right? So we hide it away, and we keep hiding it away. And, as we come into adulthood, like I said, the shadow self it's a permanent part of our personality, and it's not going away. So we need to really dig, and we need to really get to the root of some of these things so that we can release them and step into our authenticity. And that was a 14-minute description of what shadow work is. I'm sorry, gang. So now that we know that what the shadow is, the shadow self, we can define shadow work. And if you want to look at it a different way and not call it shadow work, if that doesn't resonate with you, this is also something that can be called self-examination or self-reflection. And it is the process of making the unconscious conscious once more. You're taking all of those beautiful, juicy aspects of your personality, good, bad, and different, however you've labeled them in your unconscious, we're bringing them to the surface. we're looking at them in a new way, and we're seeking to find the gifts in them. And then in shadow work, we're integrating that shadow into our conscious reality. We're accepting them. We're having compassion for them, and we're bringing them forth so we can step into our worth and show our full self to everybody around us. Because I'm telling all of you, everyone deserves to see your whole being. Everybody, because you are so special, you're so unique. There's nobody else like you in this whole entire world, and people deserve to see your light. People deserve it. I wish I had a loudspeaker. I would have said it louder, but then I'm going to blow in your eardrums out. Yeah, you know. And if you've ever felt, like I said, alone in this, and having these dark aspects of yourself, and I mean, I don't have to list them for you. You know what they are. There's a piece of you that's whispering in your ear, so you know what you're shameful of. You're just, we're all just repressing it. So you're not alone. And if you find yourself saying, I don't have a shadow, I'm an awesome person, I'm like the greatest person there is, I'm above everybody else, I'm better than everybody else. If you were thinking those things, you got shadow work to do. Because all of us have it. And if we cannot admit it to ourselves, we cannot work on it. And if we cannot work on it, we cannot excavate the gifts that come with the shadow self. So let's talk about the gifts. Let's talk about what can come out of this. You can have increased creativity, because if we're not wasting our energy hiding parts of ourselves, that creative side can really come through. Maybe you're a painter and you don't even know it. Maybe you're an artist, a writer, a dancer, and you don't know any of it because you're using all of your resources to keep parts of you away. And that can, when that happens, you become self-conscious, so you're not ready to explore that part of yourself. You can have an increase in artistry. Like, imagine the things that you could do if you were standing in your worth and being your whole true self. You can have access to innovations. What if you're like an incredible innovator and having a million brilliant ideas, but those brilliant ideas you feel shameful of because someone once told you you had too many ideas? Imagine that. Like, imagine the kid that's always got like lots of things, lots of ideas going through their heads. They're like, oh, I want to invent this and I want to invent this, and they're shamed as a child and been like, man, your mind's going a mile a minute. Just like chill out. And they put that into the shadow, right? So there could be a million innovators out there, but if they don't scoop out and realize that innovation and all of their ideas are brilliant, then they'll never be able to come forward and bring their gifts to the world. And intuition, this is a big one, ladies, especially for women. And I say this to all my clients, and if you're one of my clients here, you know this. If you're one of my close friends, you know this. I'm always talking about how people are always like, ugh, women's intuition, that's a bunch of hoo-ha. I literally wrote hoo-ha in my notes. How you like that? But yeah, it was frowned upon. And saying that, to be intuitive is to be a witch. But and our intuition is so strong. It is our gut. It tells us, it will never steer us wrong. It knows before we know what is appropriate for us. But again, if we had this feeling or someone told us in our community, like, shut down your intuition, you should listen to me, I'm your parent, I know what's best for you, or somebody tells you that, you're never going to tap into it. And that intuition, I'm telling you, is your greatest gift, your greatest ally. It is what makes you who you are, and it's the one thing that you can rely on. I'm a huge fan of intuition, obviously. Maybe I'll do a whole live on intuition. I think I'm going to do that, actually. Maybe even next week. What do you guys think about that? So now that we know what the shadow self is, what happens when we, what shadow work is, let's talk about what happens when we repress it. So like your emotions, if you continue to force them down, they're coming out, the shadow's coming out one way or another. So Shannon says yes. Okay, good. Okay, intuition, next week it is. So you can only hide that shadow so long before it manifests itself in other ways. It could be anger, it could be, explosive rage, it could be a multitude of things, but if you keep it inside long enough, it's coming out one way or another. So why not do it on your own terms, right? And you're in violation of your true nature. I want you to let that sink in. When you continue to repress aspects of yourself that you consider shameful, you're frustrated by, or you don't want to show to society, you are in direct violation of your true nature. You're not allowing it to come to the forefront. You're not embracing it and allowing it to be shown to the world. You are denying your authentic self, and you cannot know your soul deeply if you're denying parts of you. So let that sink in, because that's huge. You can, there can be things like anxiety or depression, phobias, compulsions. All these things can come to the surface as opposed to just doing that shadow work. You could be in a period of self-loathing, self-sabotage, self-absorption, or a feeling like you're better than others. Like I said before, remember, if you feel like I'm better than others, I don't have a shadow, you have a shadow. And that self-absorption is the shadow. So we talked a little bit about some of the gifts that come around with I was going to say social work. That's also a gift. The benefits of shadow work, clarity in your life, self-love and acceptance, living in truth and authenticity, having compassion for other people. It becomes easier for you to not judge others because you've understood that in judging other people, you're judging your own self, right? So you can see in others, like if there's someone out there that's being very judgmental, it's like you can have compassion for them because they have their own shadow work to do, but they haven't done the work as of yet. So you can be a more kind, caring, loving individual. Have increased compassion, like I said, deeper understanding of yourself and others, improved mood and mental health when you're not hiding all the time, when you're out in the open, like, hello world, here I am, dun, 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 dun. This is me being my whole self. I can't hide it anymore because I just have an appreciation for who I am, and I have this big, bold personality. I also like to be quiet sometimes too. Believe it or not, I'm also an introvert. I need to reset to keep this energy up, right? But overall, better wellness. You'll feel better. You'll be sick less often. I can't remember the last time I was actually physically sick. I can't remember. It's been years, not since I've been doing this work. And access to your soul purpose here on earth. If you want to know your soul purpose, you got to embrace all of those shadowy sides of you and integrate them into who you are. So how to do it? This is a process. First, coffee. Whew. I haven't even finished my coffee yet, so we'll do that first. So kind of a caveat before I talk about how to do this. This is a process. This is going to take time. All of these shadow aspects of your personality didn't just get there overnight. So it's going to take you spending time, putting in lots of effort and energy in order to be able to move through this. So I want you to be very, very, very patient. I cannot stress this enough. Patience is key, right? So, and have a lot of love for yourself. Or if you're in a period of self-loathing, take a moment to really work on self-love. Give yourself lots of attention, lots of care. Be very gentle, because as you navigate some of these darker, for lack of a better word, aspects of yourself, you are going to have a lot of emotion that comes up. So just be very tender. Being tender with yourself is huge. So, and yes, that's my caveat. We're going to go with that. So first and foremost, we have to be very aware. So this is kind of step one. Sorry, I lost track. My notes are in a weird order. I don't know why I did this way. So if I seem a little all over the place, that's why. But this is these few steps I'm going to give you. This is just scratching the surface. This is just like the little bit. There's so much more to it than this. But your first step is having an awareness around these aspects. So you've got to start being an observer in your own life. Who am I judging? What am I judging them for? What are the things that are coming up? What are my emotions that I'm feeling when other people are saying things? You need the awareness, because if you don't have the awareness, you can't understand it, right? And don't be afraid to go deep. This is going to take you down a road. This is a journey, and whatever comes up for you is okay. That's what I want to say to you, like what I want to communicate to you most of all. Whatever comes up, whatever shows itself, it is okay. There is nothing to be shameful about. It is part of who you are and part of you that is beautiful, right? So, and also around this awareness, be open-minded. This goes hand in hand with this piece about, not judging yourself for things that are coming up. Have that open mind. Be open to seeing it, because you might not even know some of the shadow self. This might be your first time looking at it. So have a really open mind and ask yourself, what are these shadow aspects trying to teach me? Because as they come up one at a time, they bubble up to the surface, all of them are there to teach you a lesson. So ask yourself, what is this here for? What is this trying to show me or teach me? What am I not seeing? And just really be very, very, very curious. So the next step after awareness is embrace whatever comes up. Have respect and love for those bits of your personality, because again, they are your true nature. They are your innate nature and who you are. So don't judge, just allow it to come. Embrace everything that comes forward. And then envelop is your third step. Send love to all these pieces of yourself. This is, parts you've hidden away. So for me, Denise, I love your loud voice. It allows you to send your message. It allows you to speak your message to the world. I love your annoying side. Your sense of humor is brilliant, and it makes people laugh and it makes people smile. So this is kind of what I'm talking about when you're sending love. And for some of us, it's body image is a big issue. Like, I'm not good enough because my body doesn't look like XYZ. And I'm sure all of you have felt that way at one point or another. I love my body. It keeps me alive. It protects me. It breathes for me. It wants the best for me. So it's these types of things, sending love to these aspects. And these are just a few examples, and you can change them for your own. And find the gifts. So for me, for my example, being loud, as I embrace that, I now recognize that this is my gift. My voice, my ability to be present, to speak to you, to be able to, and give my message to the world and to share, that is my gift. So find the gift in all those bits of shadow, because there's gifts there. They're just waiting for you to discover them. And the last step 5, is to unify. Bring the dark aspects, so the unconscious, and the light, the conscious, together. Step into your authentic self. Fully express who you are. And like the book said that I gave away recently this week, own it. Own every aspect of you, because it is a part of who you are. It is a part of your soul, and it deserves to be shown to the world. So these are, see the value in expressing this shadow of you. There is value there, I promise you. And as I said, this is such a huge topic, and there might be a time where I do kind of a part 2 where we go a little bit more into the nitty gritty. But this does require a lot of journaling, quiet time, meditation, yoga, anything to ground yourself and get quiet with yourself to be able to allow things to come up. A good way to do this is set the intention, set a quiet space, light some candles for yourself, set the tone, set the mood, say, I want to, literally say to yourself, I want to bring my shadow forward, and free journal. Put your pencil in your hand and just let it flow, let things come out. Don't judge, don't stop, just write. And in doing so, you can then look at it more objectively after the fact. After you've written all of these key words, you can look at it afterwards and be like, okay, what does this mean? Okay, and ask yourself why. Like the limiting beliefs, why do I have this? Why do I have shame around my vocal self? Why do I, feel like I can't use my voice? Why is that? And then ask why, and ask why. And you'll be amazed at what you can uncover when you continue to ask why. Ask why at least 5 times. And remember, you don't have to do this work alone, my friend. You do not have to do this work alone. And if you're curious on doing some shadow work, if you're curious on stepping into your authentic self and trying to uncover who you truly are and rediscover you, I want to support you in the best way that I know how. So if that is of curiosity, if you have some questions or wonder what it might be like to work with me directly one-on-one, so that we can work towards getting you and having you step into your worth, please reach out to me. Please message me. And I would be happy to set up a call with you. I would be happy to chat with you and give you some information, because truly, when we become authentic, when we become our true selves, when we embrace our innate nature, it's freedom. It is absolute freedom. So I will leave you with that, and I hope all of you have the most incredible weekend. Find something to be grateful for. Do a little shadow work. Start to uncover it. Do a bit of journaling. And if you discover something and you want to share it with me, please send me a message. I would be happy to hear it. And again, if you have questions about this topic, please leave them in the comments below, and I will absolutely answer them. So with that, I'm going to go and enjoy the rain. I don't know. No, I'm going to go do something boring like laundry. But yes, I will see all of you very soon. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.